You guys are on the news, so you probably already saw this, but we just read through some exciting news coming in. I was going through the locker room about, DeMar having writing a note to the doctors, want to know who won the game on Monday. So anybody that says, prayers aren't powerful and what that certainly does for the uplift of not only his family and the community and certainly the Buffalo Bills, the entire brotherhood of the National Football League. And Mike Tomlin and I are real close, worked together before, and what he did in his presser and the way he feels about DeMar and knowing him at such a young age and now being able to read that and feel like he's on a better path to recovery is certainly exciting. I know for everyone in the room, certainly our locker room coaches and everyone throughout the National Football League. So it's a great lift coming in here. So with that, happy to answer any questions you may have about the game.
Rich, what was your reaction when Keisean told you felt like a Ferrari last Friday?
I texted him back. I said, well, that's Italian. So, that's just typical Keisean. I texted him early in the morning. I said, how you feeling? I know he'd had some work done a couple of days before and got some good rest the day before. And that's what he texted back. He said, feeling like a Ferrari. And I said, text back, well, that's Italian. Touch base with me as soon as you get in. So, and obviously ended up playing two pretty good plays.
Did you get a sense, obviously you had the 93-yard return the week before, that was maybe on the horizon? Did you get a sense that he's about to spring one?
Well, I think he's brought a little sense of urgency to all the blocking. I think we talked about it even after the Philly game, if I remember correctly. So, we've had some pretty well-blocked plays the last few weeks. We've had some well-blocked plays with 2 holding penalties too, I believe. And it was exciting to see. But it's like I tell those guys, we can't live in yesterday's news, yesterday's newspapers on the bottom of somebody's birdcage somewhere. So it was an exciting play. It was certainly helpful to us, and we've moved on to the challenge we have ahead with Detroit.
If teams try to kick away from him more or pop up or use any of those tactics, how can you still find a way to get the ball in his hands because he's so
they've actually tried to do that. I know we had one fly, one we called a pop. We had one pop over in the corner, I think, to Corey, and then we've had one on the ground that Keisean had a pretty good return on, and we'll just have to wait and see. You can put 2 returners back there, and maybe they kick away from them. And so we've been through it a little bit. We'll have hopefully some resources that we could use that way. And the weather's always an issue here in Lambeau this time of year, kicking the football. Now I've been on both ends of it, been an opponent coming in here and kicking in it, and then now being on the team that does it and having Mason for us, like I've talked about before, is a really good compass for us as to what to do with it. So we'll just see what they try to do, but we'd like to hopefully have a plan for it.
It helps to have Corey there, doesn't it? Because Corey's a pretty accomplished returner.
Well, I know he's done a good job, and it's good to have PT on the other side as well. He's got good hands, he's a running back, he's got good vision, and he's made plays for us also.
Given that it's here at Lambeau Field in January, what's your degree of confidence when Mason goes out there for a 56-yard field?
Well, I just think he just proved that the degree of confidence went up a little bit, and I've said it before. I met Mason all the way back in '07 in the Senior Bowl, but being with him now on a daily basis, going back to OTAs, he's one of the most competitive, professional football players I've ever been around, and certainly he understands how to strike the football, and he understands what he needs to do to get prepared for a game. So I think he'll let us know after pregame, what he feels and what he feels he can get done during the course of the game.
From both perspectives, when you see a punt block rupture the way it did, how did you, let's say, attack that if you saw that from an opponent, and then from your end, how do you get that shored up?
Yeah, it's crazy, but on really a great question about being on both ends of those things, which we have actually. We've been that way this year. The first thing that comes to my mind is I want to know what happened. I need to ask those guys. I need to see the picture and try to figure out what happened so it doesn't happen again, right? That's the biggest thing when you're on that side of the block punt. So that's kind of what we did. We got the pictures, and we talked to the guards, and we talked to Jack to kind of find out what happened. And once we had it figured out, I felt like we did a good job going back, And they had really good rushes against us the first time we played them. So they came up with something the first, block. They did a good job, and it's been questioned about whether it's really legal or not, but it was an interesting play, and we'll leave it at that. But they did a good job with it. I thought we got it fixed. The other guys did a good job of rebounding from that and doing a good job on the other 2 punts that we had. So I know we had one inside the 20, and then the guy muffed the other one, and Reed came over. I thought we were going to get the ball out on that one. So it's part of our job to get it fixed on the sideline so it doesn't happen again in the same game. Hopefully we'll play better going forward.
Going back to Keisean, how much is just his ability and the blocking like mutually advantageous? You know, he has the holes to make those runs, but maybe he's getting the blocks because they know who's back there.
Yeah, I guess all the above, you know, and but I think anytime you have a player like he's become to this point, certainly with the speed and power that he has, it puts a little bit of the onus on the blockers to play better as well. It's a little bit magnified if you don't, you know, maybe get your block. If you're the guy that doesn't get your block when you turn the film on, it's not really good for you. So I think they certainly worked hand in hand. But I will say I've been in the league a long time, and I don't know if I've had two bigger holes than those guys provided the last 2 weeks. You know, those have been two pretty big gashes.
Rich, Dallin obviously made a heads-up play to not let the Vikings recover that block punt. Should he run that into the end zone?
No, you know, that's a great question. We've had a long conversation about that since the play has been done. Situational football, we've actually never worked that where it's backed up and you pick it up and you run it into the end zone. So I'm sure it'll be something that we work on or talk about when we get into training camp. I just think he made it instinctive. Actually, you know, he thinks if he turns the corner and some guy falls down or on our field or guy gets a block, he may end up, who knows, he may have ended up at least get the first down. So I think that's what he was thinking. I really thought it was a heads-up play, to your point, to come up with the football. And then certainly, you know, what our defense has done over the last 2 weeks, they've saved us twice, right? Poor job that we did on the punt block, on the punt fake down there in Miami. Defense comes out and holds them to 3. And then certainly did this again, you know, coming out and holding them to 3. Big momentum swing for us, I think, when our defense coming out and playing like that. This gave them a chance to pick us up with some bad plays, and hopefully we can complement them with some good plays as we've done in the past.
Rich, I can't remember the exact rule, but were they lined up too much over Jack on that play?
They weren't. It's kind of what they did when the ball was snapped. But again, it's part of it. And that there's a rule. If your wings are back more than 3 yards deep, they can line up over the head of the center. You'll see the official back there when he points like that. That means probably one of our wings is a little deeper, and it allows the guy to line up over the head of the center. And, you know, we'll line up a little bit deep at times, especially Tyler Davis with his length, playing next to Quay with his length. He's a little bit longer sometimes, a little bit deeper sometimes than the other wing. But that didn't affect that particular play.
I didn't know that. Thank you for the wing thing. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so.
Rich, I'd love to have a philosophical question for you this week, but I don't. What was the thinking with Ramiz wanting him to handle kickoffs? And I know Mason obviously makes a 56-yarder, but is that something you'll consider now with Matt as an option?
Yeah, it'll certainly be conversational, go all the way up till, you know, as we get through the week, seeing what Matt can do. And Ramiz has been playing pretty well in kickoff for us. You know, Mason's actually done a great job with him. We thought we could take a little bit off of Mason in the game and help us a little bit on kickoff with Ramiz. And, you know, he ends up hurting his groin out there right before, you know, almost the announcements of the guys coming out of the tunnel. So Mason actually did not warm up to kick off. You know, we just kind of let him concentrate on doing his field goal set. And so when it happened, I looked at Mace. He goes, I saw it. I'm good. And so the first kick obviously wasn't, you know, and, you know, Coach LaFleur kind of wanted to rip me a little bit about that kickoff. I'm like, Coach, he'll be fine. Just, you know, let him get warmed up. That was his first kick. So, and I thought he kicked well during the course of the game. I thought he helped us on our ability to help the drive start for the defense a little bit.
So was that a little bit of a luxury of where you guys were health-wise, that you could bring Ramiz in under those circumstances, where you didn't have a bunch of guys banged up and you had some choices with the...
We think so. We think once our offense and defense kind of gets their 22 or 23 guys set, and then we kind of look at what else is left that we think can help us somehow in the kicking game, we felt going into that particular game that, you know, Ramiz could be of help to us. You know, we thought they had a good return team. We thought they had a good returner, which they do. And we felt it would help us a little bit maybe to do some different things on kickoff, but it didn't work out that way.
How's Matt look these 2 days? I mean, his track record is really good, but he's never kicked in the cold either. So I guess what have you seen from him?
Yeah, he actually went outside yesterday and kicked, and did a pretty good job. We'll kind of see what tomorrow looks like. I'm sure we'll be outside again. And it's always new for whether you're on the team coming in here or whether you're on this team. I said it before. It's hard to prepare for extreme heat and extreme cold, you know. But when you're in it, it's the same for both, right? Now, obviously here we get to practice in it. It's a little bit of an advantage for us, but sometimes the wind is different on the practice field than it is in the game stadium. And I really don't care much about the temperature. We're always wanting to know what the wind is going to be, coming on game day. We'll see how that works out.